Hello, folks. It's not too long after I just made my other video, number 7, so this will be number 8. Number 7 is just put onto YouTube and is processing now, so it'll be a while. I was just writing something. I don't even know actually if I must have pushed the wrong button, and so I'm still waiting to find out if it actually went through or whether I have to repost it. But we'll see. But good thing is, while I was writing the description for YouTube, I was just kind of going over this idea of Raven and I agreeing to, like, feeling a calling, recognizing and agreeing that we have something to do, but we can't do it when we're both here. How we recognize that, it's a little more difficult. The only thing I could really say is by really training and working with ourselves over the years, and which we met each other doing inner work and a lot of work with plant allies, LSD, mushrooms, and others, and a lot of reading of literature as well. John Lilly, way back Timothy Leary, and many others. But anyways, I guess you could say exploring the occult, although the occult, which just means hidden, there's just so much that's kind of categorized under occult that is undesirable to most people, that I hold off from using the word much because of that reason. So the hidden aspects of who and what we are. If you would like to, just for a moment, suspend all your belief systems, and I'll be bold enough to say your limiting belief systems, and that means me as well. So we suspend those all. If we're going into, let's say in a metaphorical sense, we're going into a secret temple, we have to put all those belief systems, just like our coat and our boots, in the coat room before we go in. So let's just say we've done that. We walk in with an open heart, and all belief systems are left behind. And we're presented with, because there's no filters in this room, so we're able to see more than we can see now. We would see something, which we don't know what it would be, but it would be something that would probably be too much for us. And that would be our true potential, our true selves. And I'm sure each one of us would see something different because we're all unique. And yet at the same time, all the same, or part of something that's the same. I think this would be in this, whether you want to imagine it as a holodeck from Star Trek, or whether an actual stepping into the real potential. Either way, there would be something absolutely mind-blowing. Well, it'd blow your mind sky high and into little fragments, and your heart would open up more and take over in a really good way, and reveal so much to you. So this is my optimistic view of the human species in the mess that it's in, and why I feel optimistic while in a mess globally is that I believe that this difficult time is part of the crucible chrysalis stages that we're going through, and I believe that we are going through them. The idea that someone might suggest that there is nothing more than what our scientists have found, and therefore what we believe and what the news tells us, and on and on and on, to me is insanity. The concept to the extreme that there is nothing after we die physically. We just stop. That there is no meaning, no anything, is preposterous to me. It's lunacy. I don't even think it's even possible to be zero anything. So now what it is, that's also a challenge, because we can very easily as humans imagine all kinds of stuff. But I do believe as well having said that the imagination and creativity are the access tools. I think when people talk about Christ energy, in the sense of even before the Jesus Christ figure, because that word, Christos, Greek word, existed well before that. So I have been led to believe, my intuitive sense, that Christ's energy is the creative energy. I'm sure many people would disagree, and I'm willing to keep my mind open. I'm not like at a place of knowledge and wisdom in that area that I could hold on to that, but it's kind of what I'm opening up to. So if we can open our minds and recognize that half of what we see ourselves as and believe ourselves as being, and therefore our limitations or perception of our limitations, could quite possibly be all wrong. And the fact of the matter makes me quite excited, because if a lot of what we believe to be true is not true, that means a lot of what is true is way beyond what we can imagine at this point. And hence also why I have always felt that the soul print process, the healing tattoo, if you want to call it that, has so many reasons why it is so sacred of art forms and so healing. But that's something to get into on another day. But on this note of like Raven recognizing and choosing to be really blunt, to exit, to leave her physical clothing at the door as she enters the temple. Now she is helping us from that. Another side makes it sound so polarized, and I don't believe it is that. It's just lack of our words to describe. At least lack of my words to describe it. So that's what I believe, and I do believe there's no way that just Raven and I have done this. I guess it's possible, but I don't think so. I think many, maybe millions, maybe hundreds, maybe thousands, I don't know, of people, couples, soulmates, I don't know exactly, have chosen this before they were born to do this at this time. And I only have time to tell, even though time is an illusion. It's what we sort of have as our measuring system, or one of them. But if you think about even my dogs outside here, or even my chickens, they have senses that tell them things that we would never know and be able to know. And yet they jump up and start barking at something or sniffing at something that I'm kind of looking around going, what? What's up? So, and that's just a dog. And their senses are limiting as well. So imagine what really is, if you can, for a moment. That's what we're working with here. That's the portal that Raven opened up for healing, is between these worlds, and therefore accessing aspects of wherever Raven is. And no one really can tell. And for all we know, Raven may be still figuring it out. Just like, I don't know, someone gets a canoe for the first time and is still learning how to paddle it and get better at its direction and speed. So who knows? I do know something that just came to mind, whether Raven's sharing it with me or I just remembered it, but I remember a long time ago on a Christmas Eve, like 20-something years ago, Raven and I had our hands on some DMT that was a very good friend of ours got for us from Terrence McKenna. That was that far back. So we knew that this was exceptionally good quality DMT because we trusted the source, and that night we had chosen to do it. And Raven had this experience, and it was kind of surprising for me because she never ever got overwhelmed by anything, and I felt that she got a little bit overwhelmed while in this experience, and I could see her because I was not taking it and watching her, trying to be as quiet as possible so I didn't overwhelm her in any way. But I felt that she was a bit bit lost or overwhelmed or something. So I just said whatever came to mind to try and ease her. And I just said, you're in a good place. I didn't want to say too much because I didn't want to kind of trip her up a bit in the overwhelm and confuse her. So that's all I said. And I remember her looking at me and saying, I am? Like, question mark? Uncertainty. And then I left it like that. And when she was back here, we talked about it, and she said, I need to go back in there and complete what I had started doing. And I had suggested to her, maybe try, because she said she felt overwhelmed, like she was in a big ocean and she couldn't move, she couldn't propel herself. She didn't have a knowledge of how to do that and how to navigate. And I suggested just whatever came to mind, and I said, well, I don't know, maybe chanting, because we've been doing quite a bit of chanting at that time and previous to that. And she said, yeah, that sounds like an interesting thing to try. So she went back in and she tried chanting. And when she came back out, she said it was interesting because the chanting propelled her forwards or backwards as she wanted, just like she was in a canoe. So that's just what came to me when I was mentioning about that. So who knows? Maybe there is a realm that she's in, of a higher density to ours, where more things are possible, and but that she also has some things to learn in that realm. I don't know. It's completely new to me. I can only imagine at this point, and I could only explore that through my connection with Raven and my tools, which mostly are my tools of creativity, my art tools, pens, paints, carving tools, imagination, nature, and that aspect, which I'll call art therapy for healing, is the largest aspect of what I want to explore with others for working this, and working ourselves, and finding out and exercising aspects of who we are and how we can stretch ourselves further and how we can activate these new levels with the help of Raven and many others around the world that I do believe are doing the same. So this is kind of where we're at, and this is also why I feel, I mentioned in the other video, why I feel it important for me to go through this winter coming up with all of its kind of a little bit nerve-wracking elements of the unknown. But I do believe that those challenges, as the challenges that I've just come up against, and that Raven has come through, those challenges are necessary to activate within us, within the Raven Daemon being, cosmic being, no different than, say, a certain seed for a tree that needs to be in a forest fire before it can germinate and grow, or some other ones that need to be frozen before they will be activated. So there's these stressors that are absolutely necessary, healthy stressors in different beings to grow to the next level. And I really strongly believe that we are no different. It's just that stressor has not provided itself yet to activate us. In some way, on some level, I don't know. And that's where I have to have faith in what my heart is telling me. I have to be cautious so that I don't blunder through, and let my mind rule over, because it can be a little bit of a terrorist at times for anyone. But yet I find that if the heart is left on its own, it doesn't have the paddle to move forward, as Raven found. If she didn't have the paddle in her canoe, she couldn't move around. And then once she found that chanting helped, she could start to use that and learn how to propel herself. Which takes me to Stephen Jenkinson's little teaching story about a boat canoe came to my mind when he told this story, and how when you're paddling forwards in this canoe, there is the wake that goes behind you, that you leave behind, so it shows your path. But there is also the wake that precedes you, and those are his words, the wake that precedes you. And I can see those ripples moving out ahead of the canoe. So we are affecting our future as we move. So the only thing that goes against us is our lack of belief in ourselves, our lack of confidence, or our belief that goes against ourselves. And I do believe very strongly, whether on purpose or just product of our surroundings, we tend to, the human ego, whatever you want to call it, tends to doubt oneself, ourselves. And we cut ourselves short. So that's what I'm dedicated to. That's what Raven and I are both dedicated to and always have. And that is the exploration of what and who we are, what our limitations are, how we can creatively move beyond that, and how we can grow past whatever this is that holds us back in this dimensional reality, the third dimension, where we seem to always repeat the same old pieces of shit and get stuck in the same places, warring, division, polarization, everything that we are stuck in. Like, we keep immobilizing ourselves, and we keep seeming to gravitate towards a slave-like relationship with the other that controls us. Myself included. I'm not pointing fingers. Oracle Girl, who I listen to on occasion, she calls it the slave self. And I'm really working on that aspect of learning and knowing that part of myself. And I think right there is part of the secret, is not to point fingers. When we point a finger, we're saying that's you're a slave, I'm not. I think we've just prevented ourselves from learning more. I think we all have that within ourselves, and to recognize that and work with it is the first step, is to recognize these things within us all around, and to work with them with an open heart is the first aspect. So arrogance, which we all have, and ego are things to work with here, because you might call them doormen to that temple that we want to go in, and we want to leave our shoes and our coats and stuff at the door. But this doorman is so full of arrogance, which is a part of ourselves, and also the part of ourselves that wants to go stomping through this temple with our muddy boots on and our wet dripping coats. This is what's preventing us, I believe, from moving forward. So please throw some damn questions at me. This is kind of tiring that no one is asking me any questions. Like, I'm talking about something that I feel is extremely serious here, that humans have talked about for centuries, about these little secrets that they wish to unlock and the mysteries of humanity and so on. And then when we're in the midst of loggerheads around the world and someone like myself starts addressing these things, everyone goes quiet. So please, my beloved friends, please, I'm trying to open up communication here. I would love people to ask me questions. Can't promise I have the answers, but these are things that I feel are very necessary for us to take seriously. And while we're being distracted by all the concerns that the world is being told are their primary concerns, and maybe they are, I'm not arguing with that, but while that's all happening, we are missing, I believe, we are being distracted from something even more. If you think those are important things, that's fine, but these other things, I believe, are even more important, and we're missing them. Maybe over-rationalizing things, I don't know. But it's a scary thing that, let's just use the metaphor that we have wings and we refuse to believe we have them, and that our rituals that we follow daily are also designed to keep those stumps that could grow into wings cauterized. And that's what I see around the world right now, are people burning and cauterizing their wings, denying that they even exist, and even laughing and scoffing those that believe there is something more to strive for. Raven gave her life for this knowing. And those of you that know Raven, and those of you who Raven has changed in many positive ways, know there is something to this. And if you could even use that as your impetus, your catapult into the belief that there is something more, please do it. Because we don't have a lot of time, and we could quite easily be wiping ourselves off the planet just as easily as anything else. So this is very, very time sensitive, I believe. And I think I said at the beginning, time is an illusion, but nonetheless, while we're in this reality where time seems to exist, we have to abide by it. So questions, please. Questions, comments, likes, all that jazz, please, folks. If I don't get any questions, then why am I even posting these things? So think about it. Please ask some questions, make some comments, all that stuff. Please. Thank you. Over now.